I know picking an artist name can be difficult for anything, whether it's music, painting, making beats, anything you could think of that has to do with creativity, because it's really putting a stamp on your art. And it feels like a big deal because art is so personal to us and it's a way to express our emotions. So I'm making this video for any of you that want to get out there and really put yourself out there creatively, because picking a name to label as your artist name can feel so overwhelming. So I'll just give you a little background on my story. I started making music when I was a sophomore in high school, and I think the very first name I used was Trev, with like a euro sign for the E, and I dropped some music under that on SoundCloud. And then shortly after, it was probably a year or two, I changed it to For Real, and I stuck with that for quite a while. It was probably 5 or 6 years. And then after For Real, I changed it to Trace Dion. And all of them have deep meanings. If you guys want to know the meanings, I can make a separate video about that, but that's not really what this is about. So it went Trev, For Real, Trace Dion, and now Trace Dion's done. This is the first time I'm saying it publicly, but I'm deciding to just use my real name after all of that. I'm using Trevor Craik. I don't know, it just feels like the right time to use my real name, and I'm really excited about it. So long story short, picking an artist name doesn't matter as much as you make it out to matter. I was always thinking like, this could be the reason you make it or you don't make it, and that's never the case. You're already making it by making the art, and the way the world responds is how the world's gonna respond regardless, and you can just take the losses as lessons and take the wins as motivation to be better the next time. It doesn't really matter what you make as your artist name, but I would recommend sticking to it, because it feels like a restart every time I make a new name, and I've made 4 new names now. I would get some traction going on one, and then all of a sudden I would change it to another and have to start from square one. So I wouldn't recommend that, but also don't limit yourself creatively. Like, it really doesn't matter. That's why we're artists, because our emotions are hard to express with words or with actions, but we have something to rely on, like mine is music, that I can express how I'm feeling through tones in my sound or through lyrics or through the beat. You know, just there's something about music that pulls my heartstrings, and it's different for everybody what your passion is. But yeah, also if you want to change your name, do it, because it's all about what feels right to you. It's all about thinking how you want to represent yourself and your creativity. Also, a big part of me changing my name so much is I truly feel like a different person every 6 to 8 months, like a completely different person. I don't even remember how I thought 6 or 8 months ago. I truly don't. And I think that just comes from working really hard every day towards becoming a better person. So maybe that's just a sign it's working. A lot of the name changes for my artist name just came from me feeling differently in life. Like right now, I just feel like I want to release music under my real name, and I think that's what I'm gonna stick with. I think that's what everything led up to, is how I see it. And it might lead up to something different in the future, like Trevor Craik might lead into the next one, or I might just be releasing music under Trevor Craik for the rest of my life. Who knows? Yeah, really go for it. Think of something crazy, or just use your real name. Now I'm going to share with you 4 Bible verses that really changed the way I think about life and just benefited my mindset. The first verse I'm going to read is Romans 8:18. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. And that was just a great message to me, because it feels really hard sometimes, but throughout the Bible it just promises that your long sufferings will benefit you in the future. And that's really so applicable to life, and it's so true with anything. The more you grind it out and the more you work towards it every day, and you practice delayed gratification, and you just keep working hard knowing that you need to wake up the next day and do it again, that's whenever the benefits start pouring in. The next verse I'm going to read is 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits. Awake to righteousness and do not sin. For some who do not have the knowledge of God, I speak this to your shame. Man, I feel like you get that message right off the bat. Do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good habits. If you don't have good company around you, you're gonna have bad habits. It's yin and yang. It's a part of the laws of the universe. Good company corrupts bad habits on the opposite side of that. So if you have good people around you, your bad habits will be corrupted and you will not have to deal with them anymore. Try your best to put yourself in a position where people around you are in a better position in their life. Stop settling. The next verse I'm going to read to you is Galatians 6:9. And speaking of Galatians 6:9, I actually put this verse on a t-shirt, and I'm selling these t-shirts to fund the release of my first Christian song that I made. So if you guys want a t-shirt, just put in the comment sections your name and what size you want, and I'll get you on the pre-order list. So I'll pop up a picture of that so you can see them. And yeah, the Christian song, I was just making a beat and then I felt moved to make a Christian song. And it felt really good to make it. I listen to it every day and I'm really excited to share it. I really appreciate everyone supporting so far. We've had a bunch of pre-orders and I'm really excited to share this with you guys. But Galatians 6:9 says, and let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith. The verses I'm sharing with you today are really motivational verses. They all have that message to keep pushing on, no matter the circumstances. It's worth the weight in gold to put in the work today and reap the glory tomorrow. The last verse I'm going to read to you is 1 Timothy 6:9. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare. The Bible talks so much of temptations and lusts and living of this world, and how that is not the route to go. Being godly is about showing Him that your human body is not controlled by lusts. It's about delaying gratification, about getting closer to Him every day, being more Jesus-like every day, feeling the peace of God. He is a great God. That's another reason I'm changing my artist name. I don't want to be boxed in by feeling the weight of the negative content I was putting out before. And it was nothing too negative. I always had a good heart with what I was sharing, but the message was construed because the devil had a hold on my life. And the devil loves that. He loves whenever there's someone that's putting themselves out there and they're thinking, is there even a God? I had years where I thought that, and the devil loved that, and my life went to crap. I haven't been cussing in these videos. Can we get a round of applause? Okay, thank you. I'm probably gonna cuss the next 30 seconds just because I said this. But what I'm saying is, I went through a time in my life where I didn't have God, and I even questioned His existence. After being raised to be Christian and being kind of forced to go to church all the time. But what I'm saying is, finding God was the most important thing to happen in my life. I was so filled with greed, and I wanted money. Like, I was so focused on getting to a certain point financially. I've been learning that I'm not putting in enough work to get there. Like, there's really levels to the amount of work you put in, and those levels pretty well 99.99% of the time reciprocate the work you're putting in with the status that you have. And it takes long amounts of time of putting that work in to get to the slightest point where you are beginning to have successful business. But that's the fun part. That's the part where God comes into play, is it's not your plan to live out. It's not about you in this life. It's about what your next life is going to be. This is truly what I believe, and I'm just sharing this because it's made my heart at peace. And I feel like a lot of people's heart aren't at peace because sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Like the depressing feelings, and your life can spiral out of control whenever you don't keep God close. I hope you guys were able to get some valuable information out of today's video. My name's Trevor Craik. Message me if you want to cop one of the shirts. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll see you soon.